Hey there folks, and welcome to this video where I'm going to be reviewing the Donington Grand Prix rounds of the British Touring Car Championship. So I'm going to go through the story of each of the three races before looking at a bit of the championship picture, then talking about the support races before leaving some concluding remarks. Starting off with race 1, it was a story of grip. Colin Turkington got away from Mikey Doble off the start, and it's great to see the PMR Astras performing so well this season. But meanwhile, newcomer Dan Zelos struggled to get off the grid. I hadn't mentioned this in the preview. Zelos has replaced Ronan Pearson for the remainder of the season. Ashton charged early on. Doble ended up spearing Tom Ingram at the end of lap 1 through a mistake under braking, and Ingram couldn't have seen him coming. It was like Doble came in a little bit hot, braked a little bit late. But lap 2 and we get the safety car out. There were multiple incidents, most notably Watson hitting the tyres and going flying. That Corolla was in the air and got beached at the chicane in the gravel. On the restart, Turkington took off, but he didn't build up the same kind of buffer he had before. I think it was 2.5 seconds before the safety car. But it was still a comfortable win from him from Ash Sutton. The hard charger was arguably Jake Hill. I think he started, 12th? Ended up getting to the podium, and despite the incident at the end of lap 1, Tom Ingram still ended up getting 6th, which meant that for the champions and protagonists, it was an alright start to the day. What wasn't, for the same degree, was race 2. The big story was Tom Ingram's engine failure, which happens when he taps the back of Ash Sutton, having been tapped in the back by Colin Turkington, and yeah, ends up having to retire on lap 11. It was a story of just making sure that you kept it consistent. Chilton lost out places in the middle of a battle because he got forced into the gravel, and we saw a manic situation where it looked like it was 4 wide, maybe 5 wide going into the Melbourne hairpin. The light rain did affect the conditions here. In fact, for all 3 of the races it ended up remaining dry. The biggest moves were when Ash Sutton went for the lead, effective use of hybrid to overtake Colin Turkington, and then the turn 1 drama with Cook and Morgan and Camish. Camish got sent off to the grass. Then he was able to continue. Shows that the guy's got such a storied career in tin tops. I mean, he was a Porsche Cup champion before he went to the BTCC. Race 3 was a story of nightmares, pretty much of survival. Ash Sutton got tons of damage on lap 1 going through the gravel and ended up running laps down. On lap 2, Turkington gets spun at the Melbourne hairpin. Dan Camish managed to become the 9th different winner of the season by just holding on through different things, just safety cars. He was nervous and rain came down during the safety car because you didn't really know. Like, it was patchy in some spots, it was also heavier in some than others, but you didn't know if it was going to take all the grip away. It didn't in the end. And in fact, it was the cars getting stuck in the gravel again that brought out the safety car. I think we had, Aidan Moffat, right? Because he had another Toyota. But the biggest story of it was Tom Ingram, whose team managed to get the engine swapped in, an hour? And started at the back, finished 2nd, got the fastest lap, managed to get great overtakes on people like Jake Hill during the race as well. It was understandable that he was quite emotional at the end of the race because he did a bloody good job and managed to salvage what could have been a disaster for him, especially since Ash Sutton hadn't scored. He managed to outperform Jake Hill and managed to recoup some of the points he'd lost in race 2, and it does shake up the title picture a bit now. Jake Hill is on 316, Tom Ingram on 307, Ash Sutton on 296. Behind them, the other drivers who could win the title are the likes of Colin Turkington on 273, Dan Camish on 270, and Josh Cook on 262. With only, 2 more meetings left over the course of this season, that means that we've not got that many opportunities to get points for the remainder of the season. So, yeah, it's 6 drivers right now, and it's very likely there could mathematically still be the same 6 at the end of Silverstone as well. In other championships, in the manufacturers, Alliance Racing holds 2-point lead over BMW. Hyundai are on 549, so about 100 points back, but only 6 points clear of Toyota, which shows the kind of field spread that we've had this season. If you look at the teams themselves, Napa Racing is on 581, then Bristol Street Motors on 477, BMW on 456, then LKQ Eurocar Parts on 411, ahead of TGR UK by over 100 points and multiple places. I wanted to wrap up by talking a little bit for the championship picture about the Jack Sears, because with Ronan Pearson no longer competing, Mikey Doble is pretty much home clear. 14 class wins this season, 5 second places and 3 third places. That is incredibly impressive. That's 22 podiums from a possible 24 races. He's got 93 points over Sam Osborne. Dan Zelos managed to get a second and a third in the Jack Sears from his first event, which shows great form for the 3-time mini champion. Let's see what he does in the last 2 rounds. And to wrap it up, I'll quickly talk about the support races. The Formula Floors, they had a slightly depleted field due to the likes of Nina Gademan and Abby Pulling being at Zandvoort for the F1 Academy, but they still managed to produce good action, even if it was more of the same of what we offer in Knock Hill, but with less crashing and front wings going astray. The 2 Porsche series demonstrated the impact of different cars on the same kind of track. Porsche Cups, I think the big story in the feature race was the track limits, because it was 2 warnings before your penalty instead of 3 warnings before a penalty, even though their races were noticeably longer in terms of distance than the BTCC ones. It's one of the things that Tim Harvey was debating alongside his perennial dislike of tyre stacks and any kind of track furniture. But the minis were amazing as always. You had slipstream and drafting all over the place, but you did have that shocking collision down at the old hairpin where you saw one of the trains completely warped. I think 3 cars were out of the rest of the meet after that. That race got red flagged, had to be run at the end of the day. Great to see that nobody was seriously hurt. And yeah, just a reminder of how far safety's come. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.